Good morning, students. Welcome to another session of Advanced Manufacturing Technology. And in the last lecture, we have completed the laser beam machining. And today, we will be dealing with electron beam machining, which is another electrothermal process like the laser beam machining and the electro discharge machining. So the contents are general information regarding electron beam machining, then diagram of EBM equipment. This EBM equipment, the most important part of the EBM apparatus or the EBM machinery is the EBM gun, means the electron beam gun, and we'll be dealing with that. Then major components of the EBM equipment, again it is the parts of the EBM gun, then mechanism of material removal. So these, if the working is asked, the diagram, components and mechanism of material removal can be combined to write the answer. If the question is with the help of a diagram, explain the working of a electron beam machining. Okay. Now general information regarding EBM. EBM is an electrothermal process. Electrothermal process like the LBM, which is the laser beam machining, and electro discharge machining. So EBM is an electrothermal process. Then it is also an electro-optical thermal process. Optical thermal means we are using lens system. Here we are using magnetic lenses, but in the case of laser beam machining we used optical lenses. So it is also an electro-optical thermal process. Now in case of laser beam, a high energy laser beam is used to machine the workpiece. So in case of a laser beam machining, the laser beam that is generated from a lasing material by applying a certain energy, and that beam is being used to cut or machine the workpiece. Now in case of electron beam machining, as the name suggests, a beam of electrons, and this beam of electron has high energy and high velocity. So in case of electron beam machining, a beam of electron having high energy and high velocity is used to machine the workpiece, and it is a high energy density process. So these are some general idea regarding the electron beam machining. Once again, EBM is an electrothermal process, and it is also an electro-optical thermal process. And if in case of laser beam, it is a high energy laser beam that is used, it is a high energy electron beam with high velocity that is used in electron beam machining. Now it is a high energy density process. Now let's move straight to the diagram of this EBM equipment. So as I already told, the heart of the EBM equipment is the electron beam gun, written here, electron beam gun. This is the most important part of the electron beam machining apparatus, because this is the part which produces the beam of electrons. Rest is simple, right? Just the beam has to collide with the surface of the workpiece, and it has to melt the workpiece, and it has to machine it. So the most important thing is producing the electron beam. So the electron beam gun is what produces the beam of electrons. So if the working is asked, you just need to draw this diagram and explain its parts. Now let's move to the diagram. This diagram may look complicated. You need to learn the diagram, and you need to draw this if in the exam this question is asked. So let's move to various parts. So this is a high voltage supply to the cathode. So where is the cathode? This is the cathode. This is the cathode, and this is the one that produces the electrons. Thermionic emission of electrons is happening from this cathode. Now this cathode, it is made of tungsten or tantalum. It is made of tungsten or tantalum, and it is a filament, and this filament is heated to temperature like say 2500 degrees Celsius, and during the heating, thermionic emission of electron occurs. And what is the charge of this cathode? This cathode is negatively charged. This cathode is negatively charged or negatively biased. So this is about the cathode. Now after the cathode, here you can see a bias grid. It is written bias grid. It is again negatively biased. So after the cathode, you have a bias grid. Now this bias grid, it is negatively biased, hence it won't collect the electrons. But it concentrates the electrons. And it gives an order to the electrons, and it gives a shape of a beam for the electrons that were produced from the cathode. Now just after the bias grid, you have the anode. Just after the bias grid, you have the anode. This is the anode. And what is the charge of anode? Anode will be, see, this electron has to come here, so the charge must be positive. And since you need high velocity, the potential difference must be high and the charge must be different, and hence the electrons will be accelerated towards the anode, and the velocity of the electrons are increased. And if we can judge the velocity, this velocity is almost equal to half the velocity of light. So that much velocity is gained due to the potential difference. Now let's leave the vacuum throttle valve, port of diffusion pump, port of vacuum gauge, etc., and we can go to magnetic lenses. So magnetic lenses. So where is the magnetic lens? This portion. This portion is the magnetic lens. So this is a cross section. So you just need to understand how this would look in the three-dimensional view. This is just a cross section. So this is the magnetic lens. Just after the anode, you have the magnetic lens. And what is the use of the magnetic lens? It concentrates or focuses the beam of electrons. So after the bias grid, which is again a concentrator, this also concentrates or focuses the beam of electrons. Now after the after the magnetic lens, you have something called aperture. So this is the aperture. Now even though this is like a beam, some of the electrons may wander here and there. They are called stray electrons. Some of the electrons may be out of the order or out of the beam, wandering. So these are called stray electrons. So the stray electrons will be captured by this aperture. That is why you have an aperture here. Now after the aperture, you see this is some electromagnetic. Here. So after the aperture, you have electromagnetic coils. So electromagnetic coils. This is the electromagnetic coils. And why is it used? This focuses the electron on the workpiece. The electromagnetic coils actually focuses the electron beam that is coming inside to the workpiece. It focuses the electron to the workpiece. Now after the electromagnetic coil, you have the deflector coils. After the electromagnetic coil, you have the deflector coils. This is here. And why is it used? You can deflect the electron beam by a small amount. To get the exact collision point, to get the exact collision or location of cut on the workpiece. You can use the deflector coils to have a slight deflection. Not much variation can be obtained, but just a slight deflection to get it more accurate. The point of collision can be obtained more accurate using the deflector coils. Now we can move to the illumination. Here the lighting system for alignment, or it is also called illumination system, and the telescope. So these both can be combined. This is the lighting system or illumination system. This is the lighting system, and it is shown here. And this is the telescope. So these two orange ones can be combined. and this is used to align the electron beam with the workpiece. These two are used to align the electron beam with the workpiece. So you can align, you can change the electron beam, I mean the angle and other things using the telescope and lighting system alignment. You can align it with that of the workpiece. So this is why these two things are used. Okay, and now you have the things that are left. Now we can combine the port of vacuum gauge, vacuum throttle valve and port of diffusion pump. Now you must know that the whole system works under vacuum. This electron gun and the whole machinery of electron beam machining works under vacuum. Now why does that work under vacuum? Because if no vacuum is there, the electrons that are produced from the cathode cartridge, these electrons may collide with the air molecules, and the sufficient velocity that is expected won't be gained. So it is necessary to ensure that the whole system works under vacuum. So the vacuum is created by using a diffusion pump and this vacuum throttle valve. The combination of the diffusion pump and the vacuum throttle valve, you create vacuum, and for that we have a port for diffusion pump. And to measure the vacuum pressure, which is generally between 10 raised minus 4 to 10 raised minus 6, just let me check that. Torr, it is in the value of torr, I think. Yes, 10 raised to minus 4 to 10 raised minus 6. So to ensure that the vacuum pressure is between the range, you need a vacuum pressure gauge. So that is why to have that, you have a port for vacuum gauge. So this is the explanation for the diagram of electron beam gun, which is the most important part of the electron beam machinery. So once again, there is a high voltage supply to cathode, and using that energy, the heating of filament occurs, and the thermionic emission of electron is occurring. Then you have a cathode which is negatively biased, then biased again negatively biased, then you have anode which is positively charged, then you have vacuum throttle valve, pump, port for diffusion pump, and vacuum gauge to ensure the vacuum. Then you have magnetic lens, and then you have illumination or lighting system for alignment and telescope for alignment. These two are used for aligning the electron beam with the workpiece. Then you have aperture to collect stray electrons. Then you have the electromagnetic coils. These are mainly to ensure that to focus the electron beam on the workpiece, you have the electromagnetic lens. Then you have deflector coils for slight deflection of the electron beam. So this is the diagram of the electron beam gun. Now this is the explanation. Cathode, it is usually made of tungsten tantalum. Heating of the cathode materials to almost 2005 degree would lead to thermo-ionic emission of electrons. This cathode is negatively biased. Then you have a bias grid. Controls the flow of electrons. It is negatively biased. Electrons are made into a concentrated manner using bias grid. Then anode is positively biased. Due to potential difference between the anode and cathode, it is being anode is positively biased. Electrons will be since it being positively charged, electrons will be accelerated, and its velocity almost equal to half the velocity of light. Then magnetic lens concentrates or focuses the beam of electrons. Then again aperture, some of the electrons in the beam may become stray electrons. It is captured by the aperture. Then you have electromagnetic coil, focuses the electron beam on the workpiece. And then you have the deflector coil, can deflect the electron beam by small amount if no proper collation is obtained. Means if the electron beam is not at the exact region or on the exact spot, you can deflect the beam by a small amount using the deflector coils. Then illumination system and telescope to align the electron beam with the workpiece. Then vacuum gauge, diffusion pump and vacuum throttle valve to ensure the working of EBM setup is under complete record. Okay. Now let's go to the mechanism of material removal, how the material is being removed from the workpiece. The high energy, high velocity electron beam produced by the electron beam gun is directed, towards the workpiece. Then impingement of the electron beam occurs on the surface of the workpiece. So when it is directed, the impingement means the impact of the beam on the workpiece occurs. Now what is the energy conversion? The kinetic energy of the beam is converted to heat energy and melting and vaporization of workpiece occurs. So this kinetic energy is being utilized. This is the conversion happening. The kinetic energy of the electron beam is converted to what energy? Heat energy, because we need melting and vaporization of the workpiece. And gradual formation of hole by penetration of melt vaporization front, that I will be explaining with the diagram. The auxiliary material will be melted fast. Now in the mechanism material removal, you can write these 4 points, these 3 points. These 3 points can be written. Then you can draw the diagram, these 4 diagrams. Then you can draw these 4 diagrams. This is the electron beam, this is the workpiece, and this is the auxiliary material. This is the electron beam, this is the workpiece, and it is auxiliary material. This is the spot at which the beam is active. Okay, and if we need a hole to be drilled, this is the location where it is to be drilled, so it will be focused here. Now this is the workpiece, this is the auxiliary material. Localized heating by focused electron beam. So if you focus here, this will melt. So some will melt and some will get vaporized. So there is a melt vaporization front formed. This is the melt vaporization front that is formed due to localized heating of the electron beam. Now what happens? After that, the melt vaporization front is doing the job. This will penetrate through the material. So gradual formation of hole by penetration of melt vaporization front due to temperature. So this will melt through the material. This will melt the material and it will move down. Okay, penetration till auxiliary support. So it is penetrating till the auxiliary support. Then what happens? As this melt reaches here, the auxiliary material is a material that melts very fast. So it melts suddenly and forms vapor, and it will push the molten material that if present inside here outside. So these two dotted region, this dotted region and this dotted region shows the vapors of the auxiliary material. So the auxiliary material will push the molten material, if something is there, out, and it will create a desired hole. So expulsion of any molten material at the top by high vapor pressure of auxiliary material. So this is how the material removal in the electron beam machining occurs. So by this I think I will end the session, and the next session we will deal with the process characteristics, process parameters, and process characteristics and applications. Okay, so thank you so much.